question 21 is like a probability question. So let's take a look at this question. So we have 40 slips that are placed into a hat, and each of the slips has a number written on it. So we're given that there are 4 slips that have the number 1, 4 slips of number 2, 4 slips of number 3, all the way up to 4 slips of number 10. So each of the numbers from 1 through 10 has 4 slips, like written. Each number from 1 through 10 is written on 4 slips, which makes sense. 4 times 10, you would get 40 slips in total. And then we're given that we're going to draw 4 slips from the hat at random without replacement. So again, in case you're not familiar with the vocabulary, without replacement, that's just like, that just means when you take a slip from the hat, you're not going to return it. So when you take away that slip, you're just going to throw it away forever. If the question instead said with replacement, it means you take a slip from the hat, look at the slip, then put the slip back into the hat. But in this case, without replacement means you just discard it forever. And we let P be the probability that all 4 slips that you draw have the same number written on them. We let Q be the probability that 2 of the slips have one number A and 2 of the numbers have a number B, but they're not equal. We want to know what is the ratio, what is the value of Q over P. So this is like, another probability question, maybe slightly more complicated, but the idea is still the same. Remember, like probability, like the formula, the most commonly used formula, number of success over number of possible. So basically, we want to first find P, right? Let's first find P. P is the probability that all 4 slips that you draw are the same number. So let's first find what is the value of P. Well, P, the number of possible is pretty easy, right? Because we have 40 slips in the hat, 40 slips in total, and we want to choose 4 of those slips. So we have 40 slips, we want to choose 4 of them. So the total number of possible outcomes is 40 choose 4. And for the number of success is also actually not that hard, because we have the numbers in the hat. We have the numbers 1 1 1 1, 2 2 2 2, 3 3 3 3, and so on, all the way until 10 10 10 10. So we want all 4 numbers that we draw to be the same number. And notice that there's exactly 10 ways to do that, 10 successes. The only way to succeed is if you choose all 1s or all 2s or all 3s or all the way up to all 10s. So there are exactly 10 ways to do that. So that's the number of success. So P is just 10 divided by 40 choose 4. So like, that was not that bad, right? So that's the probability for P. But now we need to find the probability for Q, which is the probability that 2 of the slips that you draw are one number, and 2 of the other 2 slips that you draw are a different number. So again, we're going to use number of success divided by number of possible. Again, the number of possible is still 40 choose 4. That doesn't change. You're still choosing 4 slips from a total of 40 slips. So 40 choose 4 is still the number of possible. For the number of success, the idea is like you need you're going to draw 4 slips. 2 of the slips have to have the same number, and the other 2 slips have to have 2 different numbers. So first, we can do 10 choose 2. So what 10 choose 2 represents is like out of the numbers from 1 through 10. So in the problem, they indicated the 2 numbers by A and B. Let Q be the probability that the 2 of the slips bear a number A and the other 2 bear a number B. So first, we want to choose what the values of A and B are, right? So there are 10 choose 2 ways to choose what the values of A and B are, because we want to choose 2 values from a total of 10 values from 1 through 10. So, suppose that the 2 values we choose are like, A equals like 7, B equals 5 or something. For each of these values, like A equals 7, we know that there are 4 slips that correspond to the number that have the number 7 written on them. And there are 4 slips that have the number 5 written on them. So we want 2 of the slips to have a number 7, 2 of the slips to have a number 5. So we have 4 slips in total that have a number 7 written on them. And we want to choose 2 of them that have a number 7 written on them. So you do 4 choose 2. And similarly for the 5, you have 4 slips that have a 5 written on them. And you need to choose 2 slips that have a 5 written on them. So you do 4 choose 2 again. So this would represent like the total number of ways to have 2 slips of one number and 2 slips of another number. Remember, 10 choose 2, first decides what the values of A and B are. So 10 choose 2 is what 10 choose 2 decides the values of A and B. Once you decide the values of A and B, you have four slips that have the number A written on them, and you need to choose 2 of them to have A on them. So 4 choose 2. And similarly, you have 4 slips that have B written on them, and you need to choose 2 of those. So 4 times another 4 choose 2. So now we just have to evaluate. We want to find Q over P. So we do Q over P. That would give you, so we found Q is 10 choose 2 times 4 choose 2 times 4 choose 2, divide by 40 choose 4. And for P, that was, we found it was 10, divide by 40 choose 4. So conveniently, these 40 choose 4s cancel out. So all we're left with is 10 choose 2 times 4 choose 2 times 4 choose 2, and the denominator is 10. And we just have to evaluate this. So to evaluate 10 choose 2, 10 choose 2 is 10 times 9 over 2. So that's 45. 4 choose 2 is 4 times 3 over 2, 6, 6. So we can cancel out a factor of 2 on the top and bottom. Cancel out a factor of 5 on the top and bottom. So 9 times 3 times 6, that would give you like 162. And if we go back to our answer choices, that would give us choice A, which is the correct answer. So I think, like, again, the idea was you take probability. We always, like, most of the times in these problems, you almost always want to start with the formula, number of success divided by number of possible. Even if, like, you see a probability question and you're like, maybe you're like intimidated or something, and you're like, and you don't know how to start the problem and you're like panicking, just like first write down this formula. First write down number of success divided by number of possible, so that then you can ask yourself, okay, what are the possible outcomes and what are the successful outcomes? In this case, you know, the possible outcomes for P and Q were both 40 choose 4, and the number of successful outcomes for P it was 10, right? Because like you either choose 1 1 1 1, 2 2 2 2, 3 3 3 3, all the way up to 10 10 10 10. Those are the only 10 like quadruple, like the only 10 like possible sets of 4 slips of paper you can choose to all have the same number. And then for Q, you do 10 choose 2 to first decide the values of A and B, which are described in the problem. And then once you choose the values of A and B, for A, you have 4 slips that have the number A on them, and you need to choose 2 of them to pick. So 4 choose 2, and same thing for B, also 4 choose 2, and divide that by 40 choose 4. And we evaluated, we can simplify, and remember that, like, you know, combinations, if you weren't sure how to evaluate combinations, let's say, remember the general formula, you can also say n choose k is n factorial over k factorial times n minus k factorial. Or you can like kind of do it directly like this. 10 choose 2 is 10 times 9 divided by 2. 4 choose 2 is 4 times 3 divided by 2. So then we did that like math there, and then we, you know, simplified stuff and got 162.